Good morning, everyone. So, my report is about the effects of quality assessment on revenue volatility. So, what is volatility? Volatility is a rate at which the price of security increases or decreases for a given set of returns. Volatility is measured by calculating the standard deviation of the annualized returns of a given period of time. It shows the range to which the price of security may increase or decrease. Volatility measures the risk of security. It is used in option pricing formula to gauge the fluctuations in the returns of underlying assets. Volatility indicates the pricing behavior of the security and helps estimate the fluctuations that may happen in short period of time. If the price of security fluctuates rapidly in a short time span, it is termed to have high volatility. And if the prices of security fluctuate slowly in longer time span, it is termed to have low volatility. So, to further understand the meaning of volatility, I prepare a video. So, panoorin po natin.
Volatility in simple terms. Volatility is an up and down market movement. Let's assume you expect a stock to be at one price, but over a short period it drastically goes up or down. Calculated as a standard deviation from the expectation, such movements reflect volatility. If a position goes through remarkable changes in value, we call this position highly volatile. Vice versa, low volatility means the position is stable. High volatility brings uncertainty and scares people. At the same time, highly volatile positions can generate much profit if you're willing to take the risk. How to determine the stock volatility? Trace the trend. Remember that volatility equals swings. Look at the volatility index chart and analyze the severity of a stock market price fluctuation. The more violent are the ups and downs of a stock, the more volatile it is. Volatility helps you realize whether a stock fits your portfolio or not. It's up to you to decide whether to take an extreme ride or an easy slide. Good luck.
Okay, so volatility simply means how much something moves. High volatility means that stock price moves a lot. Research found that higher volatility corresponds to a higher probability of declining market, while lower volatility corresponds to a higher probability of a rising market. So, question is, what is the most volatile source of income for state and local government? And we all know that it is taxes. Taxes represents the largest single source of revenue for state and local governments. So let's move on to revenue volatility and how states manage uncertainty. Revenue volatility refers to changes in revenue that occur in response to changes in the level of economic output. Fluctuation in state revenue, especially unexpected ones, can compromise state services and contribute to overall fiscal instability. Although the business cycle is partially responsible for swings in revenue collections, state tax and budget policies also contribute to volatility. And what causes revenue volatility? Rising volatility in state tax collections has made it difficult for some states to accurately forecast revenues. Research found that revenues from the corporate and personal income tax, which are tightly linked to market performance, have become more volatile. In general, the corporate income tax or tinatawag na business tax tends to be the most volatile source of tax revenue. And personal income tax or yung mga galing sa salary natin or wages includes the highly unpredictable capital gains tax. It is close second. In quality assessment on revenue volatility, Across the country, state revenue become increasingly volatile, confounding the best efforts of officially and policymakers to forecast and keep budget in balance. Kaya naman nire-recommend yung mga policymaker periodically to study or assess their state economic revenue volatility to help state better manage this kind of uncertainty. This analysis can help state develop policies for rainy day funds that smooth budgets throughout the business cycle and align with each state objective and characteristics. So I prepare here a video for us to understand what is the performance of the national government revenue.
6 charts to help you understand national government revenues. As demands for government programs and projects grow, the need for government revenues also increases. For the past 20 years, government revenues have been increasing except in 2009 when 19 revenue eroding measures were passed by Congress and the executive, and in 2020 when the economy went into a record recession due to COVID-19. Almost 90% of revenues come from tax collection, and the remaining 10% from non-tax revenues. The share of grants is almost negligible. The two major tax collecting agencies of government are the Bureau of Internal Revenue and the Bureau of Customs. BIR collects more than 75% of all tax revenues, while the BOC collects almost 25%. Other agencies like Bureau of Fire Protection, Bureau of Immigration, and the Land Transportation Office also collect particular taxes like the Fire Code Tax, Immigration Tax, and the Motor Vehicle Tax. But the collection of these other agencies only compose 1% of total tax revenues. Historically, 50 to 60% of BIR tax collections come from income taxes. But with the proposed CREATE bill that reduces corporate income taxes, in 2021, the share of income taxes will go down to almost 40%. And for the first time in 20 years, will be overtaken by consumption taxes on domestic goods and services like VAT and excise. The other taxes that comprises the balance of less than 10% consists of documentary stamp taxes and other miscellaneous taxes. Taxes on property is the lowest because the BIR only collects transfer taxes on transfers of property. Real property taxes are devolved taxes and are collected by local government units. 85% of the collections of the BOC comes from VAT and excise of imports. Less than 15% come from duties or tariffs. As the country enters into more free trade agreements and tariffs are further reduced, the share of tariffs further goes down. Based on commodities as of 2018, fuels, oils, and chemicals are the highest source of collections. In second place are motor vehicles. Foodstuffs come third, and iron and steel take fourth place. Non-tax revenues comes from the income of the Bureau of Treasury, fees and charges, privatization proceeds, and other income of agencies. BTR income consists of dividends from government-owned and controlled corporations and interest income from investments. This is often the highest non-tax revenue source, except for the years when there are high gains from privatization. A common measure of tax collection is the tax effort. Tax effort is the ratio of total tax collection over the gross domestic product, or GDP. The ratio tells us how much of the country's total output is collected in taxes. A high tax effort means that more of the country's economic output is collected in taxes, while a low tax effort means less of the country's economic output is collected in taxes. Those who believe that government should spend on more services to society would aim for a higher tax effort, while those who push for smaller governments would not be worried with a lower tax effort. Tax effort can be improved either by improving tax administration, meaning closing loopholes, penalizing tax evaders, and enhancing enforcement, or by increasing tax rate. From 2000 to 2010, Philippine tax effort deteriorated despite the increase in VAT rates due to poor tax administration and several revenue eroding measures. From 2010 onwards, tax effort has been improving, mostly due to improved enforcement of tax laws during the term of President Aquino and several components of the comprehensive tax reform program pursued during the term of President Duterte.
Okay, so nakita natin no, yung performance ng ating national government revenues for the past 20 years. Volatile government revenue is a challenge for fiscal policymakers. Underlying revenue volatility creates risk to government service provisions and can make government planning difficult. As revenue falls short of expenditure needs both frequently and unexpectedly, even when revenues cover spending on average. Such sudden or short-term changes in expenditure plans can be costly and make expenditure less efficient. Sudden falls in revenue may also require governments to draw down accumulated savings. In a nutshell, the characteristic of tax base are the most important predictors of tax revenue volatility, specifically increases in assessed value and years in which a mass revaluation occurs are most influential in determining tax revenue volatility. Therefore, the effect of assessment quality on revenue volatility is conditional upon tax defendants. Thank you.